Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the podcast for the week of February 19th, 2024. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And yeah, this week we are answering the eternal question, who is Darkman? Because we were talking about the 1990 Sam Raimi cult classic, which just got a fancy new 4K release from Shout Factory, which is out this week. You can check that out. I don't think neither of us have seen it, but I've looked at kind of like the pictures of it. It looks like a very cool, like there's tons of like inserts and doodads in this like collector's edition. So if you're a fan of Darkman, I would say definitely check out that 4K. But we're talking about the movie even without having the 4K. I think we both watched it streaming or however like, digitally. But we're gonna dive into all the fun Sam Raimi-ness of it. And yeah, it came out in it was August of 1990. And I think it's I don't know if you agree, it's definitely in that, we were in that was the era where we were starting to get like it was like that pulp hero era, like because it's the same year as Dick Tracy. It was post Batman, Tim Burton Batman, and then we had it kind of like the Shadow and the Phantom and Zorro were all on the way at some point, and Rocketeer.
Yeah, this was a time where superheroes were for adults and kids. And it didn't stick in either category for a while. It was like all debatable until like now.
But it was such a specific, like, we're gonna do like radio superheroes or like serial like pulp superheroes, not Superman, Spider-Man. Like we're doing like the Phantom and the Shadow and all these other like 30s and 40s superheroes.
Well, there's something about Darkman that does hit all that. This
Well,
feels like a pulp character. This feels like a modern character. This feels like a universal monster all together.
yeah. Well, apparently that's what, because Sam Raimi apparently was trying to get the rights to Batman or the Shadow, and then he got rejected for both those. He's like, "Well, I'm going to make my own superhero with blackjack and hookers." But yeah, so he created his own superhero, and then incorporated elements of pulp heroes, but it also incorporated like Universal Monster stuff. So it's like if the Phantom of the Opera was a like pulp superhero. And obviously Liam Neeson starring as Peyton Westlake, Dr. Peyton Westlake, who he's trying to develop it's like plastic skin, but it has cells. It's like synthetic skin.
It's synthetic skin. It's not plastic yet.
Yeah.
He doesn't call it plastic. It's just like he created stabilized skin cells, but it's not there yet. It's impressive for what it is and where they're making it.
It's hilarious watching it again recently because like literally like they have it's like it's in the 1990s like this super specialized like technology. Now it's just like you just go buy a 3D printer on Amazon. Just you just print whatever you want.
Yeah, they rented a loft apartment or like a loft like business building, and then set up shop. Which I think like the interior looks bigger than the exterior because you see the shot of where they're like on top of. They're on top of like a Hallmark store.
It's like a coffee shop. I think it's like Java something.
And then like they're just producing all this byproduct and machinery that I'm like, this doesn't look like it's industrial. Like, what they're doing should be in a lab. Their lab is just downtown LA. Like some residential area of not it some like Eagle Rock or something. Like like LA is made up of small counties.
Yeah.
Usually some of those counties have like rules where it's like you just can't like coffee shop and then laboratory. Like I feel like that's a zoning problem.
And like how many chemicals are they bringing in like all the
Yes.
time?
There is such a big question about that, and it boggles my mind later. But like they're just casually making like artificial skin, and then in all their machinery that is whatever they can get their like whatever Sam Raimi got his hands on. Like some of them are old IBM equipment. Some of them are just like printers, Xeroxes that they like put new plastic like
Hmm.
resin on it.
Hmm.
Like I think one of them is just like a dishwasher. Like if you look at it carefully in the background,
Yeah.
but it's like not focusable. It's like that's why they rushed that. But I totally forgot about the assistant character. I know
Uh,
he's there. I
yep.
forgot his name. I forgot what he looked like, and it ultimately doesn't matter because no one mourns him after
No.
like the intro.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lab is interesting.
Hmm. Well, apparently it's supposed to like kind of like invoke. Well, I guess I'm not sure if that lab would like specifically like his like later his warehouse like his like abandoned factory where like lab is supposed to kind of invoke like a universal monster kind of like Frankenstein esque lab with all like is
They did.
it kind of just got, yeah, all kinds of beakers and liquids pumping through different things and vats of acid and all sorts of stuff. But
Well,
yeah,
I'm curious to say like why wasn't there like a giant Tesla coil or something nonsense in the
that
background?
that's definitely what was missing. There definitely needs to be some sort of like electricity. Like they need to, like charge the skin with electricity or something. But yeah, they're trying to make this skin, and it only lasts 99 minutes, which is very important throughout the whole entire movie. Unless if it's in daylight, it lasts 99 minutes. If it's in the dark, hence Darkman, then it'll last longer.
Just a mystery amount. But I do like how it takes them a few runs to figure out the like the trick is that the skin cells do better in the dark,
Hmm.
and then he's having like such a like a Shakespearean kind of like soliloquy of like the darkness. What does that mean? Like he didn't even say shadow. It's like the first thing he said was like, what about the dark that makes this like work or something?"
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, "This is called Shadow Man because he's technically not in the dark. He's got all these like machines running." But I guess Shadow Man was taken, but Dark Man was just fine.
Hmm. Well, Darkman's cooler. Darkman's a cooler name.
It definitely sounds catchier. But yeah, him discovering that I don't know why the darkness like was it just them running the experiment at night that they discovered it, or they just never ran it at night?
I think they did. They lose. I think they like lose power or something, and like the lights go out, and it's like, oh, it's lasting longer now. Like so they never like lost power before, or like never like the lights were out when they tried like doing their experiment before.
Right, right, and they're like restaurant district. They're just like, yeah, a lab can't be generating skin here,
Yeah, I'm
and
sure
so they
that
finally pull the grid.
all they're like holographic like skin generation like
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
I'm sure it
So
uses so much power.
if you notice in the beginning, their holographic thing is just 3D on a computer, like a rough
Yeah.
3D thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, it's like as if you didn't need half of that equipment because he doesn't have all of that.
It's like it's like it looks like it should be like it's like a screen, but then like when he builds his like makeshift lab later, it's like it's a full on hologram. Like a guy like is tricked by it because it's so realistic.
So where did he have time to build a hologram version that is somehow better than the original? Like it just you have limited more equipment, and somehow you became a better like hardware guy.
Yeah, man, lot, all that stuff must have been like very explosive, explosion proof because like a lot of that equipment survives the explosion that happens later on.
Key equipment. I get
Yeah.
like your keyboard, your
That,
monitor, that's gone, but
that one computer like is like charred. It's still like working perfectly. So
they just don't build computers like they used to.
yeah, you need 90s like IBM computers apparently. Windows 95 PCs.
But let's get back into like Darkman's. I mean, like Payton's just like research. It just he's making skin. It doesn't seem like he's sponsored. He's just doing that on his own. And even the main villain doesn't care about the skin. It's not even like why that's like a crux.
Yeah, that's like one of the craziest thing is like Peyton West like is like so like he's just like incidental to like the plot, and then like they just because they fucked with him or he's like like the horrible circumstances that he's in. Like that's why he gets like blown up by the villains. But it's because it's all the villains all care about is like is Frances McDormand, who plays Julie Hastings, like it's like Liam Neeson's like love interest girlfriend, who it seems like she's a reporter, but then you find out she's an attorney.
Yeah, she has that attitude that she's investigating.
She's an investigative journalist, but then it's like, oh no, she's an attorney.
Also, does it seem like the relationship is they just started dating?
I mean, it feels like they've been dating for a while because then like Peyton's like, "Will you marry me?" and move? We're already living together. Like,
but she's like, "No,
maybe,
I'm gonna
maybe."
wait."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh boy." She's not like excited. She's sort of like, "Oh, that's nice." You know, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
oh no."
But yeah, but she's apparently she's like either she's investigating or she's on a case where there is a land developer named Louis Strack Jr. who is basically like trying to build Delta City. Like that's the plot. Like it's basically the same plot as RoboCop, where it's like he's trying to like build this new like very like wealthy area and like force all the poor people out, and then like it's gonna be this new like condominium development area, and he's bribing a bunch of people on the city council to do it. So
So
there's
I've noticed that anytime a business guy has a model of a city in his office, like
yep.
not in the lobby, not somewhere that like is sort of a public thing. It's a total bad guy thing. He's gonna stare at that fake city and then get crazier and crazier.
Yeah, also like
And that,
M. Bison, Street Fighter,
yeah,
like OCP. Yeah,
and then to have the galls to build it a clear city, like a white clear model, where you really, I hate that. It's such a cliche. But yeah, it has nothing to do with Peyton except for his girlfriend, who's just sort of like, oh, I'm investigating one of my clients was looking into this. Like, I'm sort of confused how.
so
Uh,
so she has a memo that basically says like, hey, this guy's bribing people. Like it details all the payments. It's they mention it all the time. It's like the Belisarius memorandum. um, so she has it, and then she's like, well, I have this document that proves you're like bribing people, and we're gonna like we'll take you down. And then he's like, and that's why he sends but she doesn't have it with her when she goes to like confront him. Um, but then Strack apparently hires Durant, who's played by Larry Drake, who's like the runs this like crime gang. He's basically like the Clarence Boddicker of Darkman.
oh yeah, but he does just as much work as Clarence.
Yeah, and then so that's why they send like Durant and his goons after Peyton, because it's like, oh, we know Julie basically lives here, so we're gonna like tear apart this lab and find this memo.
Oh, so it's his lab home?
Yeah, it's like it's his lab slash apartment, because like yeah, they blow up his his lab, but it's also like it's his apartment basically.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
kind of forgot that detail because I couldn't figure. His apartment looks like it's somewhere in the city because they have like a projector. They have like a giant ass like living room area, but I just thought that was just a creative choice of the set more than that's the same location.
Yeah, I think it's like a lab slash apartment.
See what I mean? Like I don't think his unless he owns the building, which I don't think so. It just seems crazy that whoever let him rent this and have all this go on, and then him throw out the pollution like out the window.
The coffee shop there is just like, what the hell is going on up there? Like all these like
also, what's that burning human smell?
Vats of acid are just like being delivered like constantly.
So, yeah, Durant shows up in his Goonies, but I think we're skipping ahead about the awesome introduction of how evil Durant is.
Oh yeah,
and
that's like
almost like a Joker move.
It's literally the first scene in the movie is like him like showing up to like meet this other like criminal guy, and then yeah, it's you get to see all this. You can see all of his other guys, who are all just like crazy, colorful characters. Like Ted Raimi's there. There's a guy with like the fake leg that's a machine gun.
Oh, Skips.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, everyone in that crew has weird nicknames. So there's just Skips, guy with one leg, so he hops and skips. Durant, just no nickname, just you're Durant.
Mm-hmm.
There's Smiley,
Yeah.
who just smiles and is more like a hyena of a person. And then everyone else got like regular names: Rudy, uh, Paulie,
Yep.
just
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Rick or Ricky.
But yeah, Larry Drake is so good as Durant. Like he's like very calm, but like very like super threatening.
Yeah, for like, if you shaved him, he could have been a '90s Kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
He has got the same like look, mentality, wears suits, like.
He likes cutting people's fingers off.
Yeah, it really escalates. It's not just like, oh, he did it to the first guy, Eddie Black. It's more of a, oh, he's been doing this, and that's how he's been buying up real estate. Which I find it hilarious that you don't see so many real estate scams these days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do now and then in movies. It has to be really clever. But back then, it was just like, these are bad guys stealing from bad guys.
Yeah, and Larry Drake was on LA Law before this, like around that, like, and then I think after this too, probably. And then I love that he's just like he went all in on Darkman. Like he was in the sequel. He was in, I don't know if you read about this, Chris, but like the unaired pilot that
TV
they made.
pilot.
Yeah,
Yep, I did see about that.
that like Fox, they were gonna make it. They made like a 30-minute pilot for Fox in 1992,
Was that
and
supposed to be like a sequel to this, or was it a reboot?
I think it seemed like it was going to be a reboot. Basically, it was like it was like a kind of slightly different version, but the same basic plot. But like it was going to, but Larry Drake was going to be back as Durant, and then they had a new Christopher Bowen's, this like British actor, was going to be Peyton slash Darkman.
I mean, but Durant is awesome in this. He's actually
Yeah,
like a good factor because he's such a good bad guy.
he's also like, he's like super smart. Like he just like is like his vocabulary and like his like the way his manner of speaking is like so like eloquent too.
Yeah, he's not a common man. And it's very interesting because we don't get to see uh, how he just conducts himself besides real estate, like seizing. Like,
Mm.
that's how he's built his fortune: real estate seizing, cigar smoking, and finger chomping. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And there's a whole complexity with him. And I think I was rewatching the Red Letter Media review of this and how they bring out that like there is chemistry between Durant and Ricky,
Ted Raimi, yeah.
Ted Raimi's character, or it's so awkward. I mean, not awkward in a way, but it's just like I never noticed it as a kid, but now as an adult, I was like, whoa.
Well, there's sort of like a weird. It's almost like a weird like love triangle, like when that like Darkman kind of like sets up later on, where like it's like, oh, Ricky and Polly were gonna leave together and go to
Right.
Rio, wherever the hell they were gonna like.
Yeah, and that's why I saw that and I noticed that too, and that's why I'm like, whoa! Darkman was smart. He picked up on a vibe and was just like, this will send Durant into a mad rage, a lover's quarrel.
Mhm.
And the thing is, it's the movie's smart to like just have that as like a subplot, but it's not focus. I feel like in a modern movie that would have been like halfway point or something. Like they would have milked that, but that's just one thing that Darkman's scheme just happens to work out. His first scheme. But yeah, but before that, what do you think about the?
I was saying before that he gets blown out the roof of his
Yeah.
slab. One of the best shots of cinema history, where it's just like you see Liam Neeson just flying through the air.
Is he flying up?
Yeah,
he's flying straight up. I always thought he flew out the window, but then I watched this, watching this again, I realized he sort of just digitized in and flying upward. Like it's a weird angle.
He gets exploded out of the roof of his like lab, and then like ends up in like a LA river or like an LA like lake or something, and then they fish him out.
Yeah, and that's another thing. He just is like a John Doe for that hospital scene.
Yes. Which also, I was yeah, that hospital. I love that scene. Is so fucking ridiculous. Where it's just like Well, we severed his nerves so he can't feel pain, but it also gave him like it gave some super strength and also might make him insane. But he's cured.
Yeah,
Like,
no, we did our job.
yep,
I love how like that doctor who's explained this to the med students, she just has a needle nearby and be like,
yep,
check this out, kids, and just stabs them. And go, see, no pain. I don't
yeah,
think you're supposed to do that. Like, you just can't stab the patient.
yeah. So Darkman can't feel pain anymore, or I guess any sort of like tactile sensation. But then that increases his emotions and makes him crazy, but also like increases like his adrenaline and makes him super strong.
Which is cool because I kind of forgot why he's strong. He's not like a normal person.
Why he has like kind of he like sort of has basically has superpowers. Yeah.
And then how basically in he should be in constant agony, but because he can't feel it, he can walk around with basically open wounds all the time.
Yeah, that great scene where like he's like accidentally sets his hand on fire, just like, huh? My hand's on fire. All right, like,
It's sad. I do feel that's a great scene where he goes, "They took my hands," like
yeah,
they took everything. They took my hands. It's very like classic. If this wasn't a Darkman movie, that's just tragic. Just to see that.
yeah. That all that stuff is like that's where like the Universal monsters kind of stuff comes through, where it's like like Phantom of the Opera, Invisible Man, kind of Wolfman, where it's like he's like this tragic figure, which is like he's like and he's becoming more and more crazy. Like the longer he's like doing this, the more like his like mental state deteriorates, and so it's like he's like trying to like maintain his old like like
Humanity.
humanity, and it's
Yeah.
like she's like losing it.
Well, because he has to like dip into the rage and his
Yeah.
like I guess unbridled dark side. I don't
Hmm.
want to keep using the word dark because it's always like we're saying that a lot in Darkman thing, but yeah, it's just like the evil that he has to like live with.
Hmm.
But in that time, his thing isn't like I should go to the police. I should like solve my crime. He just goes, the cops are useless. The hospital's terrible. I'm gonna live in this abandoned chemical factory that's really convenient, like on the main strip.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when he finds his new home, and it's just like an abandoned chemical factory, the thing that he basically left, his old like burnt out apartment. Uh, One, the police. I don't know how much time has passed, but it seemed like he was able to get into a crime scene and steal all his equipment back and
Hmm.
drag it across town. No problem.
Well, there's at least when he tries to he's trying he has to recreate his face, and because I guess because there's just like pieces missing, so like the computer has to like kind of like figure out how to like recreate like the missing pieces. It's gonna take like 575 hours, which I think is
I
like
looked that up
20,
online.
23
That's
days.
no. 575 hours is like 23 days.
That's what I just said. Yeah, 23
Oh, you said
days.
20, so I heard it's
Yeah,
3 days.
yeah. So it's at least 23 days that he has to like wait for like his mask is his face to like be generated.
All because of the 3D render or the printing time.
I think it's because it has to because like if you have like a pristine copy of like whatever the subject you're making, I think you can like do it immediately. But it has to like kind of like extrapolate and recreate like certain sections of his face, so that's like taking longer, I guess.
I just thought I'd just copy paste his face and have his face be that weird symmetrical thing. But
It's got to render like the missing sections, I guess, which takes and he's using like 1990 he's using burned 1990 Windows computers to like do like this like digital rendering. So that's like it's taking forever apparently.
yeah, I mean, we barely got to tech that you scan a photo, you can make a 3D model.
Hmm.
Like the best we could do was face on a square, and then that's how we got like basic first person sprites.
But yeah, if you have, but it seems like if you have a pristine like photo of like your subject, then you can like make a you can generate a mask like within a couple minutes, and that's his main that's Darkman's main scheme is like he's gonna use his skin technology to impersonate all of Duran's gang and kind of like take them down one by one.
Yeah, that's how I think the movie would have been in one way, but he just does the first two and just screw it.
Well, he doesn't do anything like Ted Raimi. He just straight up kills. Like he just like finds him, just kills him by like shoving him up like a manhole cover and like getting him run over by a truck. And then like the only person like he really like kind of takes out with like his impersonation stuff is Paulie.
That's because Paulie just takes a nap and then oversleeps.
Well, Peyton, I think he like chloroforms him, so like he's knocked out, and then he takes his spot in like that money exchange, and then just like, hey, where's the money, Paulie? It's like, what? I'm in this like baby blue suit somehow. I don't know how this happens.
And then, yeah, that area of where they find Paulie, that's his like weird tenement house.
Yeah,
it's just a bedroom, a bathroom, and that's it. And
it's also weird that like so we find out later like that like Peyton can like he is able to like replicate people's voice. Like he hears it up, like somehow he has the skill of like impersonation, but he doesn't like learn. He doesn't do it with Paulie. He just like grumbles a lot.
Yep.
So it's like these like every scheme is like sort of like there's like it's sort of like it's not quite like fully like it's like full like plan. It's like, well, I'm just gonna kill Ted Raimi as Darkman with like just my bandage face. I'm gonna be Paulie but not talk, and then Durant is like when he finally is like it all comes together. He does the voice, he does the mask, he does everything.
He gets lucky on that one for a first time everything. I mean, granted, he practiced on the small things, showing that he's got the psychotic nature in him to kill a man with a truck, and then like deep cover himself into someone's life for an hour.
Yeah, and apparently, all you need to do to like learn how to like talk like someone is just like listen to the same phrase constantly for hours. Then you like you can replicate their voice perfectly.
Yeah, I wish there was something that they would say that maybe Darkman like faked a modular cord or something that put in his throat to give him a voice box, like a secondary one, or something temporary.
Or just like do like a Mission Impossible. Like I invented this like microchip that like changes my vocal cords or something. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like maybe don't have the microchip. Maybe just 3D print something that he like skin print extra vocal cords and he swallows it, or it's just something gross where it makes sense of what he does.
Or just like show if he like they never show that like he's good at impressions beforehand. Like
yeah,
it just shows up.
Even if the best impressionist, it's not always the exact sounding.
Yeah,
and I get it that it's movie magic, but here's the wacky thing: is everyone the same height?
That's right? That's the Mission Impossible thing too. Of like, it's like, oh, they're like replicating them perfectly, but it's like they're not. It's just their face. It's not their body or like their like how it's like that's the like special disbelief for like Mission Impossible too. Is like you just have to go with like that. Like, oh, we like perfectly matched everything about them.
Well, I think certain people they can only do it if whoever's on their team matches that height.
I was gonna say like Liam Neeson is also incredibly tall too.
He's like 6'3".
Yeah.
And I'm thinking Paulie's not that. Paulie's like 5'10", barely like that. And then Durant, maybe him and Durant might be the same height, but that's a might,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole confusion of like which one's which. I'm like, is Durant this tall? No, then that's the other guy.
I've seen double 4 Durants.
Yeah, that's the thing I didn't understand. And I got that as a kid. I'm like, oh, he looks alike, but they're not the same height.
Oh, Larry Drake was like 6'2 3/4. So I think he and Liam Neeson were basically the same height.
Okay.
So that makes sense.
But then when he puts on Smiley's face, him and Smiley are the same height. So does that mean Smiley is also 6'2" or 3?
Like luckily Durant like all
hires the same height.
Yeah.
See, if they're gonna do that, then that kind of makes sense. Where it's like, check out my crew, and it's like someone says, "Oh, you guys are all the same height." Like just by casually dropping that line, it's like someone. It's like, okay, nah, I don't need to think about it. But it ruins any kind of movie that involves face swapping, face masking and stuff. It's just like, how did you not tell by the height?
I mean, it's the same thing with like Face Off too, where it's like
Well, they say that Nick Cage and him have the same height, and like everything else is
it's
plastic
not,
surgery.
but it's not the same body, so it's like
Yeah, yeah. Well, they said plastic surgery, and
yeah.
that was generic enough. But yeah, I get it. Um, I think like in other movies of Darkman, he impersonates way more people than just white people.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, like, he's limited to just these guys. Oh, and when he impersonates himself is pretty cool. I just shows up at the grave like a soap opera. I
Yep.
think we'll talk about like him showing back to Julie,
Mm-hmm.
where he timed it right on her visit, and then he
He's
just
been
stood
stalking
there.
her. Yeah.
I'm like, you have 90 minutes. Like, hurry this up. I would seek her out. Don't just wait for her to show up at your grave.
And then he said he was in a coma, and then he has to like return. He has to go back to the hospital for like other treatments, so he can only stay for like certain like that's why it's like he can only stay for like 90 minutes or whatever.
I don't mind that. I always thought the effect of the 90-minute limit is crucial to the Darkman lore.
Mm-hmm.
Just because any longer and you risk kind of having those questions that I just had, like the height, the like, what's this? How did you act? He just has he has to put on an act for 90 minutes and then safely get away.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Julia Hastings is just very like understanding about that. She's like, "Oh, I understand. Hey, you're back from the dead. Oh, okay. I'll see you later." Like,
Oh, you have to go back to the hospital. Okay.
yeah, she just doesn't follow him. She doesn't call anyone of his friends. She doesn't care about like the assistant anymore.
They buried an ear. Like his grave, the grave digger's like, there's only an ear left. We buried an ear. Like
That doesn't sound right. But yet you found the assistant's body.
they never mention him again. They're just like,
So
no one cares. Like,
yeah, no one
I think
cares.
yet.
Okay, so let's go. Let's go. I want to talk about what's his face? Stracker.
Strack.
Strack.
Yeah.
So Louis Strack is someone that like he knew like he sucked he sent Durant to go like get the evidence. I think Peyton dying was just like an extra thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but then instead of like I don't know, dissing himself away or doing something else, this dum dum's just like I'm gonna try to date Julie.
Well, yeah, it's weird because like, it's like, the memo got burned up, so I'm scot free. Like no one can prove anything. Like I'm good now. Like,
But the fact that he makes a hard copy or he has just a copy he keeps on his desk at all times,
mm-hmm.
and then he keeps this woman that could possibly take him down just so close.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's taking her on dates, they're having relationships. Like it's something that Strack is just sort of like a psycho, but he's a dumb psycho, even though he's cocky about other aspects. But did you get the feeling that I couldn't place his accent? The actor is Australian, but he's got like a JFK voice to him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely like a New Englander mid Atlantic sound. That
He says chowda.
yeah. I mean, he's not bad as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of just comes on his own, but for like 80% of the movie, he just sort of is like snobby business guy,
Mm-hmm.
which is making up for Durant. I just feel that I feel like Durant should have killed him, and then Durant should have been like,
This is
"I'm
my
the
deal
final."
now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's more appropriate
Mm-hmm.
because I think at this point, Peyton doesn't suspect Strack at all. It's just sort of like Durant's the one, and it takes him a long time to kind of get the answer about Strack. As I said, the main villain doesn't no, they're like unaware of each other for a while.
Well, if he didn't like threaten and kidnap Julie, then Darkman probably wouldn't have gone after Strack at all. Like, because he only knew like everyone he remembered from like the lab that like killed him or like tried to kill him.
So yeah, I can see where Darkman then he has to keep escalating, but it's not because like he's like, oh, I'm gonna mess with them now and it's gonna be my personal war. It's like these villains are constantly trying to snatch up real estate from everybody, and no one opposes. I guess because Strack is like ultimately like the kingpin of LA of rebuilding downtown LA.
Because he bribed everyone they need to bribe to like allow like the zoning board and all that stuff to like let him do whatever he wants, basically.
Yeah,
Well, they also,
the movie does.
they also mentioned that like he basically he murdered like he admits he murdered his own wife.
Yeah, that happens at the end. That is just
Yeah.
a line drop.
Like a yeah, I tossed off like, oh, and also I murdered my wife because she was like too nosy or whatever. Like I had to murder her.
I think he killed her because that's how he's got his money.
Maybe.
I think that was he married into money, killed her, used that money, and kept flipping it till he basically built an empire on bodies.
Hmm.
And that kind of makes sense. Why, like, you get a bigger sense of his evilness at the end, which I'm like, hey, I would have liked to see that earlier to explore this, but it is what it is. The movie though is brisk because you get to see at least two different gangs. You get to see Durant's money laundering business of collecting money and then dropping money off.
Hmm.
You get to see like Durant has no loyalty within his crew, so if, like you betray him once, you're dead to him.
Hmm.
And yeah, well, Durant also has like a like a nice house.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
like a LA mansion. Yeah.
yeah, his like taxidermy finger room is pretty
Hmm.
fun.
Hmm.
When Darkman realizes that by just wiretapping his phone line.
Yeah, Darkman does a lot. He does a lot of surveillance. That's like one of his main things.
So
It,
we
can,
go. We
it,
mentioned
I was it kind of reminds me of like the Tom Jane Punisher a little bit. You
a
know how
little
like
bit, right? Yeah, I got
where it's
that
like
vibe too.
where it's like he wasn't doing a lot of punishing. He was like doing a lot of like manipulating and like trying to like make them kill each other and like planting evidence and like doing all this other stuff.
Yeah, it's not something the Punisher normally does. It's sort of guns blazing in the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
Darkman, you think it's gonna be him cracking open the door, punching these guys, but really it is like a lot of build up. It's tight build up, as everything he does serves a purpose that pays off at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, it's Darkman hiding and waiting. Phantom of the Opera does that too. It's a lot of planning and singing.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel that people came in thinking it would be more actiony, but the movie does save itself for that. Some of these fight scenes only happen. In
Well,
fact,
I mean, the poster is like just like it's like full on like Darkman is like standing in front of an explosion, like or like
yeah.
a burning fire in the background. And I think they were like definitely trying to sell it as like this is like Tim Burton Batman like this is the new superhero like get ready comic book like this is action packed comic book like.
So a lot of the suspense that I guess kids would have thought would it just they're disappointed because it is just investigating. And I get it. I get it. It's like more for adults to see a slow burn build up. I think one of the mid action scenes is just is Peyton freaking out in his lab, yelling at a cat,
Yeah.
which is great because it's great comedy and physical work from Liam Neeson, who again like never considered himself an action hero or anything. So when you see him do things like this, you're like, wait, did he forget this?
It's such a weird like his career is so crazy because it's like he started out with like a lot of these like like supporting kind of like pulp, using fucking Kroll and stuff and this and then 3 years after this he's in Schindler's List and wins Oscars and then that was like his career for like a couple years and
Dramas.
dramas and then like episode 1 and then like
Well, okay. He was also this is I think is this a year or two after Rob Roy?
I think so. I think Rob Roy was like late 80s.
I mean, he's still a household name back then, and just like he's not maybe consistent, but he has his time. He has his Liam Neeson assans now and then, every decade.
Well, it's these like really strange like ebbs and flows where it's like, oh, he was he was like the supporting guy. He was in like uh Next of Kin and the Deadpool and stuff like that, and then Darkman, and then it was Schindler's List, and it's like, oh, now he's like the Oscar-winning dramatic actor. But then it was like, then he's in Star Wars, and then it's like back to then it's like back to like he's like kind of more dramatic roles, but then it's like, oh, now he's in Batman, and now he's in Taken, now he's just an action star now.
He needs to go back to a Darkman movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, apparently they were talking about like a legacy sequel at some point, but I guess that kind of fell through. Like 2 years ago, they were talking about like maybe like some sort of Darkman with Liam Neeson coming back.
Damn. So yeah, what'd you think about them visiting Chinatown to intimidate the Chinese triad guys that like are the nicest gang? There's no fighting. They just kind of hang around.
They're so polite, and then like Peyton as Durant just like lucks into like the like intimidation factor that like makes them like give them over the money.
Yeah.
It's like you have the time until I smoke this cigar. And he cuts the cigar like super tiny, and then he's able like because he doesn't feel anything. He's like burning his hand, and they're never just like, this guy's fucking crazy.
And they're like, okay, we'll give you your money.
Yeah.
So they always had it. They just didn't want to pay.
It was weird that Professor Torchnaka's in the background and he doesn't do anything.
Nothing, right? It's such a like, oh hey, he's there, and they just stand there, and the scene's over.
Mm-hmm. Because that would have been fun if he had Darkman had to fight Professor Torchnaka.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't fight anyone besides like that one gang.
Mm-hmm.
I get it's focused because of that. There's no distractions. His whole approach is to take on Durant's men, and then the real estate schemer.
And there's no police involvement at all.
Yeah, as if the city has no cops, and even when they do show up, they get eliminated.
Mm-hmm. They show up in like a helicopter. There's like a couple cops in a helicopter at the end, and that's it. There's no other cops anywhere.
That helicopter explodes too, so all the city is just unprotected.
They're having a massive shootout in Chinatown. No cops show up.
Yeah, it's not just like there's like extras that get hit and then they like fall down. So it's like there are people that Durant accidentally killed, and they just sort of like, I love when they realize that Darkman's gone, and it's like they cause all those problems. They just hide their guns and look around like, all right, like we gotta go.
Let's just walk off casually.
Yep. But yeah, the scene where Julie realizes that Strack is bad and then goes to Darkman's hideout, it's cool because like Darkman just happens to just be there, and because it's not like an era of cell phones or anything, so Durant's men just follow her, like 4 cars and a helicopter follow her.
Well, I think before that we haven't talked about it yet, but like the carnival date scene.
Oh,
maybe the most memorable scene in the entire movie, where it's so Payne's been trying to see Julie. He can only have for 90 minutes. So they go on a date to a carnival, and he is playing like the toss the ball, knock it on the milk cans game, and is trying to get an elephant for Julie. And the carney's like, nah, you lost. Like you were over the line. And then we get like the most Sam Raimi scene maybe of all time, where like Payne's rage just like erupts and like the entire like background of the scene explodes into like flames, and he's just, like, and you see all these like flashes of crazy imagery. Just like, and then it's just like him just like freaking out and just like, "Give me the fucking elephant!"
Yeah, that scene is so cool just because like you see the screaming, the cuts, and then Julie, who's just like, "What is happening? I thought we had such a nice date."
And then he breaks the Cardi's fingers, and then he's screaming, and then Julie's screaming, and the Cardi's screaming, and it's like. And I love I think that there's a quote from like or like a mention of about like Sam Raimi, like, because this was his first like studio film, because obviously like Evil Dead 2 were like very like indie, like no studio involvement. It's like self-funded basically. And this is the first movie he had like an actual budget on, and he's like, what? And then he apparently was like, I'm gonna tone down my style a little bit. It's just like, if this is like him toning down his style, then like what is like not toned down to Sam Raimi?
What's like unhinged, Raimi?
Yeah, I guess Army of Darkness, but like, yeah, this is like it's there's so much Sam Raimi like style and imagery going on. Like it's like all the montages like of like there's like stuff flashing, like there's like these like stuff like flying across the screen behind like an image, and yeah, all like this the carnival scene where it's just like, yeah, like their background is like burst into flames, and it's just like these like crazy shots of the screaming or freaking out.
Yeah, the imagery of the flames and the zoom ins later, I mean, are the same kind of shots you see in Evil Dead 2 and I guess Army of Darkness, where he just like trippy visuals. That's
Definitely,
definitely his look.
I definitely like watching this now, and like knowing about like Spider-Man. I feel like there's like definitely like there's a lot of like the like there's like kind of like the like initial steps of like to Spider-Man in this movie too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not it's got a superhero vibe that he captures completely well for a character that is like he hates himself, he hates society.
Like the montage of like after he's in the like after he's in the lab, it's like he's in his like chemical plant lab, and there's like that montage like where it's like just it's like, like a printout with like spit on the screen of like test failed or whatever, and then it's like all these like other things are like this like the way the montage shot is like very much the same as like like Doc Ock trying to do something in Spider-Man 2, or like um it I mean, Sam Raimi definitely has his style is like so like distinctive. It's just like there's no mistaking like a Sam Raimi movie.
Have you seen almost all his works?
Um, I feel like I've seen pretty much almost all of his movies. I haven't seen was like A Simple Plan, I think, which was like I think it was like him like trying to not be like crazy stylistic.
Is that the one that's like a Fargo movie?
It's like it's Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton. It's like it's like a crime thriller.
Yeah, they try to steal something. I think it's because it's got no horror. It's just crime thriller.
And I haven't seen the Gift either. That was like a 2000 movie with like also Billy Bob Thornton
I don't think I've seen that one either.
and Kate Blanchett. It's like a murder. It's like she's having like visions like a murder.
Hmm. That sounds like something we should watch one day.
I think Keanu Reeves is also in it.
What?
Yeah, the Gift has like it's yes, Billy Bob Thornton, Kate Blanchett, Keanu Reeves, Hilary Swank, Katie Holmes,
What, an
Giovanni
all-star
Ribisi.
cast?
Mhm.
Well, because in this movie, Darkman, it has like a few all-star people, like three, and then the rest are just like TV actors,
Character guy, yeah.
character actors. Yeah, like
Mhm.
it's got a few people that I'm just like, oh yeah, they were in this movie. I think it's like this movie feels like it was made with like friends. It's like Sam Raimi's friends, all the people he's worked with, his brother, of course, and then
I mean, he was like, he was living with, it was like him, Francis McDormand, and the Coen brothers were all living together in like an apartment, I think.
during this time,
Like, well, before this, and then like, I think I'm not sure about afterwards, but like, that was definitely because like the Coen brothers definitely were like, they all helped like Sam Raimi helped them with like the early like Blood Simple and stuff like that, and then he helped them like the Coen brothers helped him with like Evil Dead. They were all friends, and like Francis McDormand was like dating, I think, Joel, maybe.
I forget which one.
Yeah, but they're all friends, like living together basically. Yeah. Oh yeah. Francis McDormand and Joel Cohen have been married since like 1984. So
Want to get into Durant's death, his ridiculous helicopter death?
yeah, which that's also kind of like definitely like evidence that this is like a much bigger budget than Sam Raimi's had before, because he gets to do like this like crazy stuff, like have a stuntman hang off a helicopter.
Yeah, and then like fly over the LA River and then
Mm-hmm.
throw an explosive on the bridge, like Terminator 2 style.
Yeah, that's not, that whole scene is awesome. It's like
I
Darkman
also
hanging out
feel
the bottom
like
of the
that's where a
helicopter. Yeah,
lot of the budget went into too.
probably. Yeah, yeah, renting a helicopter, like paying a stuntman to, like hang off like a helicopter, like blowing up cars under the helicopter. Like,
And it escalates. It's not just like a simple I'm on a helicopter thing, shake them off. Like Durant pulls out different guns. They visit different LA locations.
mm-hmm.
Darkman has
he
no instinctual. He
he
doesn't.
fly.
Darkman doesn't want to climb up the thing. He just wants to
No,
hang out on the bottom.
he smashes into like a conference room and is like I forget exactly what he says. It's like,
He's like, "Excuse me,"
yeah, sorry.
and then yeah, like it's it's crazy to think that Sam Raimi, who started horror and then had enough money, which is like, this is my vision.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put Liam Neeson's character like a wrecking ball through LA.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. I feel like the copy I've seen, like, not the 4K rip of it, or like the new edition. So it's a little rough in the streaming. I was watching it and seeing it a little, like, you could, the green screen effect isn't quite there. The like stunt work for the like practical effects are a little rough, but still, like, if I saw this in theaters and just to see like like a stuntman who is dangling
Yeah,
on
there.
an
Yeah,
angle.
it's 1990. Like there was a guy hanging off a helicopter
In
for
the
like
beginning, so it's not like they just rigged a dummy. That's something I appreciated. There's a few scenes where if there's an explosion or someone being hit by a car, it's a dummy.
Mhm.
This was not. This was a full human.
Yeah, I think like Ted Raimi. I think you could definitely tell they made like a Ted Raimi like dummy head, just like we're like flopping it around,
So
when he's like popping it out, like when he's popping it out of the manhole cover. That's like, oh, this is like that's like a dummy Ted Raimi basically. And just some like there's definitely some like kind of like like some of the shots of like Darkman's like hands are like
it's
it's like
typed in the computer.
it's stop motion, but I mean that it's still fun. That's fun. Like just see like old school like stop motion like these like skeletal
Yeah,
figures typing.
that works well. I did see some behind the scenes stuff where it's just like the same studio Sam Raimi worked with, and is a certain look to his movies, that like claymation look
Mm-hmm.
for the stop motion. So like I appreciate, it's not like this he had a vision and then just sort of left his roots behind. It's like he brought everyone with him with the studio and budget, and we said, yeah, they just liked what I did there, let's do it again with more money. Which you could see the climax, the like darkness fighting. So like right after Durant blows up in a helicopter, then it's like, let's meet at a unfinished building as our
Mm-hmm.
like secret talk.
And,
So
Darkman's impersonating Durant again, but then like Shrek is like easily sees through that somehow. It's just like, oh, you're Darkman, or like you're Peyton. Like,
we never met. This is the first time, but I know everything about you.
oh well, because it's like, oh, how you're something about his kids, and like then like Durant Payne's like, oh yeah, my kids are like, so it's like kids, and it's like Shrek's like, you don't have kids, Durant. You're
Wouldn't
Peyton Westlake.
wouldn't Peyton notice that or something? He's been watching Durant for a while, I assume.
Yeah, but that's he screws that up, and then that's how he, like Shrek knows it's Peyton and not Durant. And then they have like they have a fight on the high steel, which apparently like Shrek is like, well, my dad used to force me to work on the high steel, so I'm like I'm an expert. I can like jump around here like, no problem. Like,
Yeah, I'm a high steel man.
yeah,
So yeah, like we mentioned Shrek kind of like showing how evil he is. He's not just like an evil businessman. He's just an evil guy all around.
mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that. Basically, it's a even fight. It's not like, he probably couldn't take Darkman on the ground level in a fist fight, but he could take him on with steel girders.
Yeah, because he's done that before. He's got his henchmen throwing like wrecking balls at him.
But I also like that during this, it's in the night. Even though I thought it would be some sort of I know what it is now, but there's nothing to do with the mask at night where he's able to change his face a couple times and say, oh, the darkness enhances his power. It's just straight up a different thing. I thought something else would come back and play.
Yeah, he only uses the mask like once like offensively when he like puts it on like Rudy and he puts like the one mask on like him to make it look like the other guy and then like throws him at the other guy and Smiley and then he shoots him. But he only does it like once. Like he doesn't use any sort of like other trickery like that. Like yeah, he's fighting Strack. It's just like his like his normal like bandaged like bum Darkman's costume. Which I don't think much like he finds like his iconic like he's got which I mean Darkman's look is like very like iconic. He's the bandages and like the like fedora and the jacket, but like he finds those in like a dumpster.
Oh, I kind of forgot that. I kind of forgot that he collects that. I thought he woke up in that.
Yeah, he escapes from the hospital, and then he ends up he's like sleeping in an alley, which also like reminded me a lot of like Spawn, where like Spawn like lives in like like the homeless like alley.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Darkman's like sleeping in an alley under a cardboard box, but then he finds like like the duster jacket and then like the hat, and then that's his like costume. It's like this like abandoned like discarded like jacket and hats.
And he doesn't change. It's like you have the freedom to change. You just like this look, the Phantom of the Opera /
Well, he eventually like when he gets a bunch of clothes. Like I don't know if he's like steals like all of like Polly's clothes or something, but like when like Julie shows up at the apartment like later on, he's like this whole like wardrobe of clothes that he uses like for like his like disguises. So he's got a whole thing of like suits and ties and all kinds of clothes that he's using to like impersonate people. But then when he's like normal Darkman, he's wearing like his like disgusting like hobo jackets.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought the final fight would be more than just a fist fight, but it still works. It's fun. It's not. It doesn't drag on. It's a lot of Shrek really chewing scenery.
He gets that giant like screw gun or whatever. It's not even a nail gun. It's like bolt gun, and then like he's like missing at like point blank range, so he's a terrible shot.
Well, I don't think it's supposed to be like a gun, so
yeah.
He's using it like a rail gun.
Yeah.
It looks more badass than it really is in real life.
And he does shoot like paint through the hand, but then like because he doesn't have pain, like he just like rips it out with no problem.
Yeah, he was just enraging him. He was just like, "Yeah, I've been with Julie sexually," and he's just like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah.
Well, granted, Shrek has no idea what the power scale of Darkman was, besides put on mask. He doesn't know he's got super strength. He doesn't know that he's insane.
Mm-hmm. Can't feel pain. Yeah.
So, egg him on.
Yeah, I do love that. Like, yeah, like he's Darkman overpowers him. Like he's got him by the ankle. Then like Shrek's doing that classic like villain like monologue of, like, you won't kill me. You're a hero. You're a good person. Like you wouldn't kill me. And then he's just like, and then Darkman's just like later drops him like no problem. Like
I think this is the first time that Darkman personally killed someone.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's like everything else. It's like he can sort of like, oh, that wasn't my fault. That was something else. His warehouse exploding, taking out everyone, wasn't Darkman's fault, even though I feel like that is Darkman's fault.
Like Durant, like he tied the helicopter to a truck.
Yep, and he screamed "burned in hell."
He got like Liam Neeson's getting a taste of his own medicine that we get later on in Batman Begins, where it's just like, I don't have to save you. It's like, I won't kill
I
you,
have
but
to
I want to
kill you,
save
but I
you.
have to
Yeah.
save you. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally the same thing. It's like, well, I don't need to kill you. The fall will do that, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised that Strike didn't fall, like, because they clearly set up like there's like these like giant steel spikes on the bottom of the building,
I did notice that too.
and, like but he doesn't fall on them, or like, maybe he did, but they don't show it. Like I thought we were gonna get like Strike impaled on these like spikes. But yeah, but he kills Strack, but then he's talking to Julie, and he's just like, I'm a monster now. I can't be with you. I need to become like I need to become one with the darkness.
I need a dark woman.
I need to turn into Bruce Campbell, which is a super fun cameo at the end of the movie. And it's like he puts on a Bruce Campbell mask and like walks off.
It is a nice nod that Bruce Campbell was involved,
Hmm.
and if you remember from the other videos about this, who delve into it way more than us, a lot of the screams and yells is Bruce Campbell.
Hmm.
I thought that was a nice, neat thing because it's like, you know, you expect he's in that movie a lot more than you think. I only thought he was just in that like scene and that's it. He doesn't say anything, but it turns out he does a lot of the Foley work.
Hmm. Yeah, and then Darkman's just gonna be like he's just gonna be like a vigilante now. He's gonna like live in the shadows and impersonate people to stop crimes, impersonate criminals and take them down.
Well, LA has tons of them, you know,
Yeah.
from just that one area. Darkman's got a lot of work on them, and then, um, unfortunately, just the sequels never lived up to what they had, like in tone and in action. The barely thing they keep was that Darkman has that hobo outfit.
Yeah. And like Arnold Vosloo becomes Darkman.
Which is not bad. I didn't mind him.
I
But
mean,
he's no Liam Neeson.
I mean, like it's like you're buried under like a ton of makeup. So I mean, as long as you can like act under the makeup, like if someone can do that, then they're like 80% of the way to Darkman. Which I think I don't know if you mentioned, but like the makeup for the Darkman is like fucking crazy. Like it's like it's so disgusting and like grotesque.
It shows you a lot more, yeah. When they zoom in around the jawline and seeing his missing patch, that not quite sure only that side of his face got burned because it seemed like his whole body would have been burnt
Yeah.
because he flew as a fireball. That guy was.
Mhm. I love whenever you see like even when when he has his bandages on, when you see like his like teeth because he has like no lips. It's just like you
Yep.
see guys his teeth like coming through the bandages and like they're
Uh,
like clacking and stuff. Like
yeah, that's something as a kid when you witness something like that too early, it kind of stays with you. Where you're like, wait, how does he talk? He should be
mhm.
all like it's all teeth, so there's no punctuation, no your sounds are all weird when you don't have lips. Like, try to talk without lips right now and see what kind of weird noise you make. That's
Yeah,
how he should. And that guy was able to impersonate other people's voice.
yeah, he can barely do it. He can barely do his voice anymore. Like
If anything, he should sound like Bad Cop, or like Bad Cop or Good Cop from Lego Movie.
mhm.
No, good Cop voice. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
It's all like soft spoken and stuff. So yeah, Darkman's a very interesting thing that the studio was. I think like what really holds it back is that the marketing was limited. Universal Pictures just did not believe in Darkman.
well, I mean, I mean, it was a hit. It made money. I don't know if it's a hit, but I mean, it wasn't like a. I think a lot of people might think it was a flop, but I think it made like its budget back, or like at least like uh it wasn't like a failure box
It
office
wasn't a
wise.
failure. Yeah, it just didn't blow a lot of people's minds, and I mean, I think was it Darkman rated PG-13 or R?
I mean, just given like how grotesque his face is, I have to imagine it's probably R.
Yeah, I think it's R.
Like just like the makeup and stuff, like it had to be.
And I think because it's of the R rating, it's definitely the better of the is this for kids, is this for adults movies, like comic superhero movies.
Well, it's weird because like I mean, it had had like a game. It had games. It had Marvel comics. It had novels. It had.
It had everything right for it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm not sure if they made toys. Because there was a weird thing where like there weren't toys until like almost like a decade later because Universal was like we don't have the rights to the Darkman. And then like Soda Toys for like the company that like does like a lot of more higher end collectible toys are like, oh, you guys might want to check again because you have the rights to Darkman. They're like, Universal's like, oh yeah, we do. You can make Darkman figures. Go ahead. Like,
yeah, whoever owned that rule totally like dropped the ball. They could have made Darkman stuff for a while.
mm-hmm.
I mean, because you don't get to the 4K Blu-ray without fans.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a cult classic. I mean, there's like it's there's a lot of like fans of the Darkman. I mean, if you're a Sam Raimi fan, you're definitely a fan of Darkman, Brown Boy. And it's in that like early '90s like pulp. It's in that like kind of strange where it's like not like mainstream superheroes, but like these like you know more obscure or like these like radio heroes and 30s and 40s like movie serial characters getting like they're these like huge movies. And Darkman's an original character creation, obviously, but like it's definitely has all that like tons of DNA from all that stuff in it.
Oh yeah, it's got a lot of I mean, I don't want to call it a Batman clone, but you can't help it with the soundtrack, the look.
We have Danny Elfman doing the soundtrack, yeah. I mean, everything post like Tim Burton Batman was trying to be Batman. Like Dick Tracy. I mean, I think Dick Tracy more than this probably in 1990 was trying to be Batman, but like this is still like, which also is weird. Like I just thought like Danny Elfman also did the Dick Tracy score, so
Yep.
like they were just like that was just like oh we're making a suit like a vaguely like Batman or like trying to like replicate Batman, get Danny Elfman in there, and have him make a score that sounds like Batman.
So I mean, I get they knew it. They were trying to ape on the other successes, which I'm fine with because you get like I kind of want to like I saw this and I want to watch Batman 1989 like right after. So it's a nice like little cousin to that.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and then just like the the first like transition for Sam Raimi from like these like super indie horror movies to bigger budget blockbusters. I mean, the next movie we did after this was Army Darkness, but then eventually like got it, Spider Man, and then most recently Doctor Strange. It all goes back to Darkman. So so I think I'll wrap it up for Darkman this week, and definitely come back next week. We're gonna be diving into David Lynch's Dune because Dune Part 2 is going to be out next week. Apparently, it's like one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. So, but we're diving into the OG, the David Lynch version, and maybe we'll do some comparing and contrast of like how that movie told the story compared to Denis Villeneuve, and we'll dive into like all the crazy imagery of that movie next week. And you also, if you head over to the site right now, you can also check out our February movie commentary which is up right now. We watched Hidden Strike, the John Cena Jackie Chan team up from last year. That was a Netflix sensation. So you can watch that along with us. And head over to the site, check out all our other stuff, all our news and reviews, features. Actually, I have a review of Madam Web if you want to like read my thoughts on that wonderful movie.
Oh boy,
not good.
You didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, so all that's over at Everything Actioncast. Have to check all that stuff out. And yeah, so for Chris, I'm Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.